Hello, I'm Michael Bacon, and this is my Activity 4 Part 2 ScreenFlow for the Haunted House Simulator. So to start off, cemetery ambiance, I used a synth just to create a simple ambiance thing, and then I took a sample of dripping water and time stretched that out to make it go a little bit slower. It comes in, when we hit number 1 there. It gets louder as we go. And that brings us to stingers. So for my creature stingers, I created a screech sound, which was a cat screech sample. I dropped its pitch, 3 semitones, and I took a double of it. I flipped it around backwards, and I dropped that an octave. And then to sync it up a little bit, I doubled it again and just dropped that an octave. And I used a low pass filter to get some of the high end out of that. I created a howl with a wolf howl sample. I dropped its pitch an octave, and I set it to play at 125% speed, and then doubled that, flipped it around backwards, and reversed its pitch, so it kind of gets like 2 wolves howling together. I created a mice sound with recording guitar picks, tapping on a clipboard, and I raised that a half an octave, and made some squeaks with my mouth. There they are. I made a growl using a lion growl. I cut out a small piece of the growl, copied it, flipped that copy around, and put it at the end so it kind of goes like up and down the growl. Can't remember. And then on that one I used a subharmonic synthesizer and boosted it like 90 hertz to give it some lower. Then for a monster laugh, I recorded myself laughing, dropped it down an octave, and had it play at 75% speed. For the wind stingers, I took one recording of a wind sound, and then I made 5 different versions of it using pitch shifting and time stretching, and a combination of high and low pass filters to make each wind sound different. Then for the thunder stingers, what I did was I took one bass thunder sound, and I applied 5 different thunder sounds to it. So they created 5 different ones, but they all had that bass sound, so they kind of all tied together. Then I adjusted them with pitch and time stretching and stuff like that. Those are occurring as we go through here. Then when we come up to 2, we're gonna get to the cemetery gate. I recorded a really squeaky door. I doubled it and dropped its pitch 7 semitones, so it's kind of like it's playing a fifth with itself, I guess. I don't know. It sounded all right. For the tombstones, I used a sample of falling dirt, and then one of my thunder sounds played at half speed, and then I recorded myself rattling some rocks around and adjusted that pitch up a bit. For the hands coming out of the ground, this is my first one. I spent a lot of time on this. We made a bunch of recordings. We recorded tearing paper, wiping my finger along my arm, slurping sounds from my mouth. We threw dirt clods at the ground and let them break apart. And then I got a sample of a tree falling over because I like the sound of those roots pulling out. And then did some pitch shifting and time stretching and layered it all together. Then for this lightning thing, lightning breaking open the crypt, I used 2 different lightnings and stuck them together in the beginning, and then used 2 of my thunder sounds and messed with them a little bit to make it sound like an explosion. For the moans, I just recorded myself. Doing a bunch of moans. I chopped it all up, placed them back together, used some pitch shift and time stretching to make them sound a little bit different. Then I added just a little bit of delay to give it some eeriness because they're ghosts. Only the laugh happened at the same time as that. Next we got the new mausoleum door opening with the air rush. The door opening, I recorded opening a door. I got the clicking. I signed it with opening a door, and then recorded scraping a little rock along the ground, and then I lowered that an octave and made it play 75% of its speed. Mix it together. For the air rush sound, I recorded a door whooshing past the mic one of those times I was opening. Whenever I caught that, I doubled it and raised it an octave on itself, and then I recorded a mouth whoosh with my mouth, obviously, and then I played that back at 75% speed and doubled that and gave it one at 6 semitones higher. It was really hard for me to make the air whoosh sound come through with the sound of the door, but here it is. And then moving up towards 8, we're gonna get the mausoleum ambience and the organ sound. The ambience, I just layered 2 synth pads together, and then I added the same dripping water from the cemetery to give it consistency through there. For the organ, I just used the made 3 different organ tracks, put them together based on the Devil's Chord, 0, 12, and 6 on a guitar. And then I added phaser to one of the organ tracks. It's to give it that real spooky feel. And then when we hit 8, we get the door slamming. I recorded a door slamming, regular door slamming, and then to give it a little bit oomph, I recorded the screen door slamming and then dropped that an octave. Then I used my kick from Activity 2 and had it play back at 50% its speed. I didn't make any torches, so 9 didn't really do anything, but it will shut the organ off. Not that much. But at 10, we got the I've got a zombie sound loaded in here, but it doesn't seem to trigger. And when I load it in, I coffin its sound. It would trigger every time I fired the laser. So I just left that one off, and I'm not getting the zombies in here when I do this. The music score, I use the same one from the Activity 2, except I adjusted the levels a little bit to mix with the volume of this activity. When I was all done, I created a separate session to mix all these sounds to get them to the levels I wanted. It was easier than putting them in the game and then redoing them. So that zombie fight is going. I used the same laser, except I added the sound of electricity or the lightning from one of the other sounds that I used earlier, and then I added a laser mouth sound just to give it a few more layers, try to jazz it up a little bit. We should be over here. Then on the exit, I recorded my own voice. I duplicated it, made 3 copies of it. I played one an octave lower, and then one dropped down 6 semitones to play off the theme of the organ earlier in that little chord there. Then I boosted the one, and it was dropped 6 semitones, the half an octave, to kind of center it around that one. So there it was. I mean, I had some trouble with the zombie. I couldn't get that to work or the coffin lid to work right, but I mean, I had a lot of fun doing this. So thank you very much.